Hello and welcome back to Whispers from the Dark. I had planned on posting a video for Mother's Day. I was tweaking it when I realized I didn't have internet service. Then I found out that there had been a storm the night before with lightning, and I assumed that my router had fried, and after all, it was 10 years old. And so I got a brand new one and hooked it up, and so it's working. And so I was changing a little bit on the Mother's Day, belated Mother's Day video. And I just was so worn out, I went to bed. Something just said, don't keep working on this. Go to bed. So I went to bed. Got up, worked last night, come home, and then I remembered that every May I get an invitation from the Dallas Police Department asking our family if we would want to come up and stand in memory of Officer John Crain. And I started thinking, I didn't go this year, but if you remember, I actually am related to two different officers. John Crain on my mom's side and Officer William Henry Riddell on my dad's side. So I started thinking I'm going to tweak a video that I posted last year about them two officers, and I'll repost it. And something just said, start with Officer Crain. So when I was growing up, I remember always hearing that was my grandmother's cousin. They were cousins and they were close. And my grandmother was just the coolest little lady. She just was. Totally awesome. 4'11", shrank down to 4'9", their last 10 or 15 years, and her history, her family, the family history on that side is incredible. I'd always heard of Colonel Young. Colonel Young was my grandmother's grandfather. And his picture was an oval frame at the foot of her bed on the wall. And she said every morning she'd wake up and look up at it and smile. And she did everything she could do to make him proud. And he died in 1862. She wasn't born till 1900. She never knew him physically, but she felt like she knew him. That's kind of like I do with him. I have a connection with him. Just like I do some of the people on my dad's side that I never knew or had never heard of until I started doing research for videos and then accidentally running across my own relatives and looking into their stories. Officer John Crain was killed exactly 100 years ago today. And this morning, whenever I pulled up his file and looked at the photos, I have the original here, the black and white. It's pretty amazing. Sepia, I think, is what they call it when it's kind of an orangey color. But I have the original. And him and all of his brothers, and then his sister, and then his mom and dad. And I'm showing that picture right now in the video. Unfortunately, his facial photo in that photo is kind of faded. It's really strange. But that's the best picture I can, I have of him. They didn't have a whole lot of pictures back then in the early 1900s. But this is the whole family. And if you look down at the lady with the long hair and the animal skin on her lap, that's his mother. That is the daughter of Colonel Young. Well, whenever I read the date that he was killed, I felt like someone hit me in the gut. I thought, that's today. This is the 100-year anniversary. From 1923 to 2023. So this video is for him. In memory of Officer John Crain, who was on night patrol downtown Dallas, 1923. When he was walking by businesses and he heard a noise and he turned to look to see, he heard a noise inside the pharmacy and he turned to look and the guy shot him through the window and killed him. Rest in peace, Officer Crain. You are not forgotten. Even 100 years later to the day, your descendants are thinking of you and are shedding a tear for your loss and telling your story.